Hi, I'm Navid Ansari, and this time I'm going to show you how you can create instance of other online players in our gamemaker studio. So without any further ado, let's begin. You remember from last video what we have done. We check if this is our player, we check the inputs, and we move our player, and we apply gravity and all of that, right? But if it's not our player, we get the player stat and the input of those players we in from our server. We get player stats. And we did all of that. So let's just get back to create and change this is this our player to true again, and we want to create instance of this obj player and set this value to if it's our player or not. So let's begin. You remember we create this obj level 1, and with this obj level 1 we just show the host number at top left corner, right? And with this object player we show the player number, okay, at the location of x and y of that player, right? So now in this obj level 1 we want to get all the players that is joined this host, and we create instance of that. So first of all, we don't need to check for new players that is joined this host each frame. We want to do it each 3 seconds or each 5 seconds. We don't want to do it a lot, right? So for that, let's just add a create event in here. In this create event, I want to say, should I try to check new player? Okay, and at default it is false, right? Because we don't want to check the beginning of the level, and we set an alarm for that. So we say alarm 0 is equal room speed multiplied by 3, for example. So each 3 seconds it should check. First time it wait for 3 seconds, or let's just say 1 second at the first that level run. And now let's just go to alarm 0, and we say should I try to check new player to true. So at the first it will stay for 1 second, and after 1 second it will check that. Okay, now let's just add a step event in here, and in a step event we check if should I try to check new player. If it's true, check if there is a new player in this host or not, right? First of all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say should I try to check new player to false, because I don't want to check it every frame, right? And after that we set an alarm again, alarm 0. This time I want to say room speed multiply by 3. So after 3 seconds check no. Okay, so now we should send some data to our server to tell it that I need to check if there is a new player or not, right? So for that, let's just create a variable called data, say ds map create, and in here I want to say ds map add value, right? The ID is data, the key. First of all, we should give it a host number. So we say host number. We want to get the players that is in this host number, right? And after that, the value is global dot host number, right? Next, I wanted the server to give me all the players that is in this host, and I wanted to put it in this variable that I want to create in here, data, and the key I want it to be players, okay? And default value is no one or -4 or whatever. And after that we can send this data over UDP. The IP, like before, it's our local host for now. The port is 8080 for this time. The size, for example, let's just give it 200. Okay, we don't need to send all of these character. In this send map or UDP we will change this size. So the map that we want to say send is data, and the type, so we should create a type for that. So let's just add it in here, msg type, and I want to call it get new player. Okay, players. So let's just add this to our obj global in here, add this in here, get new players, and let's just add it to our server as well. So you know that the numbers in here is important. So this one is 5, and this get new players is 6, right? So let's just add it to our state machine in here, and this is get players, get new players, and I want to run this function whenever it get this message type, get players. Okay, now let's just create this function, the bottom of our code, say function get players, and the parameters is this data and our info or response info. Like always, we did a console log in here, so we know we are in this function. So let's just copy and paste this here, and that's okay. So everything should be okay now. So let's just open up this again. So we send the data and we need the players to be back. So in server, we should give it back those players. For that, we say data dot, we want to put all the players on this host in this players key value in here. So let's just copy and paste this in here. So data dot players is equal hosts data dot, and again, just copy and paste this host number that we create in here. the host number. So with this, we get a list of the players and we can send it. Just send it with this line. We don't need to write it again and again. And with this, we send back all the players, right? Now our server is done. Let's just run it. So in here, we say, we run our server. Now let's just get back to our game maker. Okay, so now that we have this step event, let's just get that data in async networking in here. And in here, I want to just copy and paste from one of these objects from here to here, for example. Okay, paste it here, and let's just close this to if. So first of all, what we should do in here, let's just check for message type. The message type is get new players, right? And in this response, what we should get, let me see, the players. We want to get the players because server is sending us those players, okay? And the variable, I want to call it players as well, okay? So now we have the players in here. If we say show debug messages, and in here show the players, okay? And let's just give it this breakpoint in here and go to debug mode to show you what is that we are receiving, right? So first of all, let's just create a host, and in here these players, let's just add it to our new watch in here, and it's showing one in here, but let's just right click on it and view as list because it is a list, right? And it just have one player because we just create that host, and we can see that it sends us key down, key left, key jump, X and Y, and player number and all of that, right? So let's just test another thing. Again, go to debug mode. No, let's just join a host. And when we go here and in variables, in here, now you can see players has two instances on it. Player number 0, that is the one that creating the host, and player number 1, that is us, that we joined the host, right? And player number is 1, and you can see it send us the key down, key jump, and key right, and all of that, right? The X and Y is here as well. So we should create the instance for all of these players. So you can see it has a list in these players, and in that list, each one of them is an object, is object in Node.js, but it is a map in our game maker, okay? So let's just create that. Let's just delete this show debug messages. I don't want to do that here because we are checking this, check the new players, okay? We can't create the players that is already in there. So how we can do something like that? First of all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete everything that we already create instance of, okay? And after that, we create whatever left of it, okay? So for that, we check how many object player that is already in our room, in our level 1, okay? So I want to create a variable. I want to call it number of player already in level, okay? The number of player that is already in this level, and we can find that with instance number, okay? We want to find obj player, okay? We want to find all the obj player that is already in this level, okay? And we check if the number of player that is already in this level is greater than 0. So in here, we create a for loop in here. Of course, we can just do it by right clicking and using code snippet for loop, okay? And we want to check if the I is less than number of player that is already in this level. First of all, find that player. We say instance. For that, we say instance find. The object that we want to find is object player. And I want to use I because we want to check all the players. If we already created, just delete it in this player list that we get from the server, right? And put it in a variable in here. I want to call this variable exist player or whatever, okay? So this is the player that is already in this level. So with this player that is already in this level, we want to delete that player in this player list that we get from server. So how we can do that? So first of all, I want to get the number of player that is in this players list. So we say var number of players is equal ds list, because the players is just a list. And we can get the size of that by this function players, okay? And we use a for loop function on these players, and we check if this player that is already in this level, just delete it, right? So again, let's just create another for loop in here, and instead of I, this time I want to just say j and check for number of players. Until it's less than number of players, just run this code in here. So first of all, let's just find the first player. ds list find value in our players list, and we want index of j, okay? and I want to put it in a variable. I want to call it var player. Okay, this is player number 0 at the first time. You know how for loop works. So first of all, in this player, that is a map node because we get it from list. You know that the players is a list of maps, right? So in here, I want to get the player number of this player. I want to say var pn is equal ds map find value in our player. I want to get the player number in this list, okay? And for key of that, if we go to our object player in a step event, when we set our player state, in here the player number, the key of the player number is this. So let's just Control C to copy it and go back to here and paste it in here, okay? Because we want to get the player number, right? So with that, we have the player number. Now we say if player number or pn is equal to exist player dot player number. You know that if we go to object player, we have a player number here. So let's just copy and paste it from here to here, okay? Copy and paste is working fine in here. We should always copy and paste. If the player number is equal the player that is already exist in this level, just delete that. And for deleting that, we can say ds list delete. The ID is our players and the index is J, okay? Because we are in this loop and we want to delete. Know that we delete this player from the players that is coming from the server because we have it already in our level. We don't want to create it anymore. After we delete it, again, we should check for DS list size, okay? We should do this so it won't check for index that is already deleted, okay? So now we have the players that is not in our level. Now we can create the rest of the players that is in this players list, okay? So in here, let's just check first how many players is still in that list. So I want to create another variable. I want to call it number of player main, for example, is equal to ds list size in players, okay? These players. Let's just copy and paste it here to make it sure it's okay. So in here, we check if the players that is coming to our game maker from server, if it's already existing in our level, just delete that. And what remain of it, create it, okay? And I want to create a for loop in here. So let's just use this code snippet. And I just want to use I in here because we are done with I in there. So we check for number of players that is remain in this players list. First of all, let's just get that player and put it in player variable in here. We say ds list find value. And we want to get it from players index of I. And where do we want to create that player? We want to get the x and y of that player. So we create a variable. Let's just call it xx equal ds map find value in our player that we get, and we want to get x of that, right? And let's just copy and paste it for the y as well. And change the variable name to yy. Now we can create this player, and for that we say instance create layer. For the x and y we can use xx and yy. The layer is this instance layer, so let's just copy its name, put it in here, and the object that we want to create is obj layer, okay? And let's just put it in variable, and I want to call it new player. And the most important things that you should do in here, you should change some variable in this new player. First of all, is this our player? It's not, right? So let's just copy and paste from this object player in this create. Is this our player? Is this our player? No, it's not our player. It's just instance of other online players. So the next thing is to set player number, okay? And let's just again copy and paste it from here, player number. And again go to back to our obj level 1 in here, player number, and we can get that with ds map find value in our player. And the key of that, let's just again go to obj player, and in this function the player number is this, okay? Always just copy and paste, and don't write down any of this key by yourself, just copy and paste it. And you can see in here we send back this player, okay? And the key of the player number in here is writing like this, player number, like this, not like we do it in here, okay? It's not like this because we are sending the list of these players, and the key is this player number. So let's just copy and paste this for our player in here and here as well. And again, it won't work. Why? Because in here we use this player number again, and we shouldn't use this player number like before. Let's just stop the server. Like before, we should use this key in here, player number. And let's just change this player number in here. and everything should work fine. Okay, in this obj player we show the global player number, but we don't want to do that. We want to just show the player number, right? So player number. So for testing that in just one computer, what I want to do, I want to save this as another project so we can test it again and again, right? So in here I want to call it another client. Okay, and let's just open up that one as well. So now we have two instances of our game. Let's just run both of them. First of all, this another client, for example, and let's just put it here and open up this one as well. And this one is okay. This one is okay. So both of them is running. Now let's just run our server now. And with this, I want to create a host. And with this one, I want to join a host. And it should create both of these layer. And you can see this is player number 0 and this is player number 1. And if we change in here, it will change in this as well. If we jump, it will do okay. So if we go to this game, for example, we can change the player position, we can jump, and everything is working fine. And you can see we can kill the enemy as well. We can show both of them. If we shoot, and you can see in here the enemy is dead as well, and you can see it works fine. Okay, I know it's getting complex. I did want to make this video in separate video, but I decided to create it in just one video and it takes too much time, right? So let me explain it one more time in this client, right? So the mistake that we make was that when you send an object in Node.js, it will use these keys in here. So if you want to get the key jump, you should copy and paste it from here. And if we didn't change this player number like this and we use the game maker one in here, so in a step in this set, you can see we set it like this player number. If we just copy and paste this from here to our server to use it as player number in here, it would works fine, and we won't get those problems. But we did it. Don't worry about it, we did fix it. So it did works fine, right? In the video after this video, I will show you how you can have chat systems, how you can have more option in this multiplayer game. So please, if you want to help me, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's my honor to have you at the end of this video. And at the end, I want to thank my Patreon supporter, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.